Okay, the last leg of the tour is to take all three things, solving for of, solving for percent, solving for is, and make them into one big lesson plan. So for example, here's question number 1. Write down the phrase, find 40% of 50. So you got to be on top of your guard. You need to know, when do I multiply? When do I divide? How do I divide? I will make the triangle for now. And I'll try making things that we don't need calculators for yet. All right, so find 40% of 50. Remember, rule number 1 is the word of. And after the word of comes the number 50. So that's called your of spot. Rule number 2 has been or is the word percent. And that means the percent goes right here. So guess what? There'll be nothing in the is spot. Now, I made a rhyme up before vacation that said, when numbers are side by side, they must be multiplied. So you are going to actually multiply 50 times 40%. Now, you're in charge of knowing what 40% is as a decimal. Who knows what 40% turns out to be as a decimal? Tyler? 0.4 or 0.40. I want to ask one of you now to do the dirty work for me. Can one of you do 50 times 0.4 and tell me what you got? Sean? 20. And there's the answer key. Ta-da, sweet. That's how fast it's going to be. So we're going to mix them all up today. Sometimes you're solving for is, sometimes you're solving for of, sometimes you're solving for percent. But I'm going to keep using the triangle method so I know where numbers go. And I know, and that leads me to saying multiply or divide. All right, second example. Number 2. Let's write down, all right, 30 is 60% of what? So 30 is 60% of what? I'll make the triangle method. Okay. And I'll do my rules. The of is the first thing to look for. Nothing is coming after the word of. So guess what? Of is empty. The second rule is percent. Well, you can all see it. It says 60%. The third rule is the number, the is number. Well, 30 hasn't been used yet. So guess what? That's going to go up top. Now, when one number is in the top and one number is in the bottom, it means division. Now, I'd like someone to help me. What does 60% become as a decimal? Anthony?
0.6.
Right, 0.6. Now, this requires some long division. Sorry about that. It looks like this to begin with. 0.6 into 30. It's kind of like swearing in math to have a 0.6. So you move your decimal point. 1 notch here and 1 notch here. And now it becomes 6 goes into 300. Now that kind of math you can do yourself. Does anyone know what 300 divided by 6 is? Chloe? Right, you're right. It is 50. So guess what? The missing of would be the number 50. Natalie?
I got the same answer. I didn't change the percent into a decimal.
So like, what'd you do?
I had 30 over 60, then I did 36, and then 1/2, which equals 50 over 100.
Okay, if it works, then let go with it, yeah. I'm not going to stop it. All right, example number 3. Write down 2 is what percent of 100? All right, I made this kind of be a little on the easy side. Sorry about that. 2 is what percent of 100? So here am I not knowing what to do. Oh gosh, I'll make the triangle. And I'll go through my rules and regulations. Rule number 1 is the word of. And 100 comes after the word of. The second rule is a percent. No percent in this one, obviously. And the third rule is whatever number's left over goes in the is spot. So 2 goes up top. Now, I made it a little bit on the easy side. So after I take away my triangle, I have the 2 on top and I have the 100 on the bottom. And we did what was called Sean's shortcut. If you have something over 100, you got the percent. So guess what? The answer key is clearly 2%. And that is the missing piece of the triangle. Kind of an easy peasy one. So far we've done one of each. So I'm trying not to use calculators. I want to kind of do some old-fashioned math. Now let's try 3 more now, one of each again. Let's see, what's a good one to do? All right, how about this one? 45 is what percent of 200? Now for me, it's better if I make a triangle so I can see where numbers go. Maybe you don't need a triangle, I do. Rule number 1 is the word of, and look what came right after the word of is 200. Rule number 2 is percent. I don't see a percent. Rule number 3 is whatever number's left over goes in the is, so guess where 45 goes? In the is. So it looks like this to begin with, 45 over 200. Remember, the goal is to somehow get this to be over 100. Is there something I can do to make the 200 become 100, called Sean's shortcut? Anybody have an idea what to do to 200 to become 100? Max? Let's divide by 2. Kind of like a scale factor. Right, I will need your help. Since we're dividing top and the bottom by 2, I need you guys to do 45 divided by 2. I need to hear what that is. Eddie? 27.5. I believe you're correct. So 27.5 over 100 is another way of saying 27.5%. So right now, I didn't need calculators, kind of on the easy peasy side, but you really have to know where your numbers go, because that detects fractions or multiplication. I got 2 more left. How about, all right, what number, let's see here, is is 45% of 80. I had to fix that, sorry. What number is 45% of 80? I'm making a triangle because I don't trust myself yet. Some kids don't know, hey, should I multiply or divide these numbers? So I'll make a triangle. Remember, rule number 1 is the word of. I spy it. It's called 80, so it goes in the of spot. Rule number 2 is the percent symbol. I spy it. It goes right here. Well, nothing is going in the is spot. And the rule of the rhyme that I made was the phrase, when numbers are side by side, they must be multiplied. So you will be multiplying 80 and 45%. Can one of you help me translate what is 45% as a decimal, Tyler?
45.
Right. Okay, now, I need your help because I haven't done this yet. I need one of you to do 80 times 0.45 and share out what you got. Sean? 36. Okay. So that's called the missing is number. What number is 45% of 80? 36 is 45% of 80. Okay, I promised you 6, and here's the last one. A man of my word. All right, the last one I have here. 8 is 20% of what? My last one, as I promised. 8 is 20% of what? I'm making a triangle because I don't have faith in myself yet. It's a little shaky. I'm not sure if I have to multiply or divide these numbers, so I'll make a triangle. Rule number 1 is the word of. Well, there's no number after the word of, so leave the of blank. Rule number 2 is the word percent. I see it, it's a 20%. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Rule number 3 is the 8 is left over. It must be called the is number. It goes up top. Right now, we all know what happens now. 8 is on top, 20% is on the bottom. Tyler, you're good at doing this. What's 20% as a decimal?
0.20.
Thank you. Now comes 8 divided by 0.2. Long division, unfortunately. Looks like that. 0.2 goes into 8. And remember, never allowed to have decimal points. So I move it over 1 notch each, and now it becomes 2 into 80. Oh, I know what that is. Who knows 80 divided by 2? 80 divided by 2. Jacob? 40. So that means the missing of number was 40. That's kind of all we're doing today, is just putting numbers in a triangle and then deciding, do I divide, do I multiply? And I get the answer key, abracadabra. So that's what I'm talking about here, is putting all three together into one lesson plan.